So I wanted to talk about jobs again as a continuation on from the first video I did talking about jobs. And this reason being is because the first one I talked about applying for jobs. But, I don't know, I never really talked about being in a job and working in a job and what that's like. And honestly, it depends. Because I honestly, genuinely believe it depends on the people and the type of people that you're working with. Because you can work at a really shitty job, but the people in there can be, like, really nice. You can work as a team, you get everything done together, and it makes the experience more enjoyable, even if it is a tough job and it's really hard. Because you work together and you get everything done together, it makes things easier. No one's judging you. Everyone's just doing what they can just so you can get out on time. But there have been other jobs that I've gone to where they've just completely judged you. And what I mean by that is, yeah, jobs often want you to, like, learn relatively fast. But this particular job wanted me to have learned everything there is to know within one day. One whole day. Started in the morning, finished at night. And they wanted me to know everything by then and be fully fledged and capable by the end of that night when I walked out there. Now that is completely impossible for anyone, unless you have worked in that industry before. Which obviously that's what they was wanting, and I wasn't that because I hadn't done that before. I was still learning. I didn't really know my way around the restaurant. Didn't really know the food. I hadn't really been taught it. They just kind of handed me it and was like, oh, go hand it to that table that they barely even showed you. So that was an interesting and really painful and tough experience because everyone there was extremely judging. If you didn't know something, they looked at you with a really cold black stare, like you were some sort of idiot and incapable, but they just simply hadn't taught me. So how am I supposed to know anything if I haven't been taught it? And by the end of it, they said, look, you're not what we're looking for because you haven't learnt everything. Maybe when you've had more experience in this, we might hire you, but... And honestly, I don't really want to go back there because the people were not nice. When I asked for help, they just told me to figure it out on my own and just kind of threw me away. And at that point, I just ended up, like, crying and going home and thinking, well, this is it. What am I supposed to do? So, that was an interesting experience. Learning that there are really rough jobs out there that are really not nice to their workers, and even the workers in there are not nice to you. And only a handful of people are willing to help. But even then, they know that they're going to get a cold black stare for trying to help. So it's negatively impacts. And I've also worked at another place where they understood that, when you can't do something, it's not your fault. It's the fact that you haven't been trained and taught to do it. So I did a lot better in that job because they actually took the time to show you and all of that. Just the really sad thing was I went on a really long holiday and they basically said, we've replaced you. And that really sucked for me because I thought I was the best worker. And I'm not trying to be like, I was the best, blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying that I had a lot of food knowledge and I opened up their store. So I was like one of the people to open up their store. And like a lot of people had just kind of left because it got like really busy or they just found a job that was a bit closer. But I stayed and I improved my food and beverage knowledge to the point that I was impressing these big business companies, and they were like, wow, you really know the food. And I knew the allergy listing off by heart, so I didn't have to go recite the table. So whenever somebody needed a specific allergy requirement, I was able to cater to that. And that was my job because I worked so closely with the food. That was my job. And you know, like they said, we don't say it, but you really are one of the best workers that we have here. And I think, you know, you need to be appreciated more. They, you know, were gonna give me a free lunch and everything, which was really nice as like a token of showing that I did a really good job. And I was like, yeah, I'm going on a holiday. This is a really important holiday to me. And it was an extremely important holiday to me. And the lack of communication is what really did it. I tried to log into the little work site and kind of say, hey, you know, I'm not going to be back on the time that I said I would be, but this is the time that I will be back. And it wouldn't let me, so I called up and I said, hey, look, I'm not going to be back until this time. And they were like, yeah, no, that's fine. And I do have a person who can vouch and say that that's what they said. And they were like, yeah, no, just tell us when you're coming back and, yeah, we'll start putting you back on. But unfortunately, that word wasn't passed and, like, written down saying that I was going to be there a little longer. But it had, like, that particular time when I called, they had been told that I was going to be staying a little bit longer because people knew that I was going to be here a little while longer. But I'm guessing the message just didn't get passed around or something entirely. I understand that the manager that I talked to had left, so that's the only conclusion I can come to that may have caused like this kind of miscommunication to happen, you know, like it's a busy day, forget to write something down, you got a lot on your plate, all of this stuff. And so they put me on like a bunch of shifts that I wasn't going to be there for, but I had told them, you know, I'm not going to be there. But they were like, look, you know, we've replaced you. And that honestly sucked because it was a genuinely good job. It was hard. But at the same time, I did sacrifice a lot for that job. Some nights I was coming home at 4:30 to 5 in the morning when I had started working there at about 11 in the morning. Or even if I was working a night shift and I'd be starting there at 5 or 6 or 4 even in the afternoon. To get home at 4:35 at night wasn't fair. And I had talked to them about, you know, letting me leave early so that I wasn't getting home so late. But I don't think they really listened to that. And that is kind of a fault of my own because I do tend to get pushed around because I'm rather meek and shy, I guess you could say, and I let a lot of people push me around because I don't really know any better. So I don't really know any better, and was just like, oh, okay. Eventually they'll let me go home early. But they didn't, and then they did that as well. And a lot of other stuff surfaced about the store that was honestly extremely toxic. And I don't want to be mean to this particular restaurant. I just want people to know that sometimes when you go to a job and it seems nice, the people in it can be shady in the background, and you can get pushed around, and there can be stuff going on that you just don't know about because it's just hidden underneath the rug. So, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, every job, corporate job is like this, blah blah blah. I'm just trying to raise awareness that there are corrupt people, and there are miscommunications that cause a lot of things to happen that really shouldn't, that are quite unjustified. Honestly, I could get my job back if I really wanted to, if I took it higher up, but I really don't want to. I would rather just kind of be done with it and move on to a job where I'm not going to be coming home at 4:30 at night, because that's just not fair. And I'm not trying to be mean, but it was really hard and quite damaging. And for some people that's fine, that's what they want to do, but for other people, if you have a life outside of work and you need to study like I was, and you have relationships and stuff like that, it can be quite toxic because you're working more than you are spending time studying. You're working instead of spending time with the people that you love, and I don't know. But it really just depends, honestly, on the people. Because it can be a tough job, but if people understand to work together and help each other out because they know how hard the job is, it makes things a lot easier. And there are some people that kind of walk around kind of all high and mighty and think that their job is better than everyone else's, and they treat other people like dirt. And they're just like, I pay for your wage, blah blah blah. And they, I don't know, they're just big, tall, high and mighty, but at the same time, everyone has their own job, everyone has their own way of getting money to pay for food, to pay for a house, or if you're young, to pay for some games or whatever you are saving up for, like a holiday. It pays for stuff. And whether it's better or worse, you shouldn't treat other people like dirt. Because I don't think any job is really any better, and any position any better. Each job has its own struggles. The reason it becomes tough and hard is because of the people who do not help each other out. If people become greedy and don't put enough people onto work, it makes things tough, and it makes things unbearable and not easy to work and deal with, and it makes things hard. And like I said, it just comes down to who who is controlling things and who is working together. What is happening in that situation? And I think if you have a job where you connect with the people really well and you can work as a team and you're able to do that, or even if that's not your thing and you don't really like working with other people, but you have a job where you can do your own thing, but you still get progress done in an efficient way. Because for like other jobs that I've done, it was more efficient to do stuff on your own because, you know, that's just what you do. But it wasn't unbearable. You're still working with other people and helping them out, just in a different way. Working as a team doesn't necessarily have to mean you're, you know, continually in a group together. You can still work as a team and be in separate rooms, if that makes sense. You can still work as a team and kind of pass the information along to help the other person. That is still working as a team for me. I don't know what that would count for anyone else, but for me, that's still working as a team, just in a different way. So however you work for a team, as long as you're helping each other out and it makes an efficient ecosystem and a friendly, happy ecosystem, I feel the more happier you're going to be with your job. The more negative people are in their job, the more negative you're going to be as well. And therefore, it's going to backlash because it will negatively impact the company as well. Because negativity spreads negativity. And all it's going to do is just crush and crumble whatever was there to begin with. So it's better to find something that you want to be in. There are different environments. And I feel people will find that. I don't know. It is extremely difficult searching for a job and getting a job. But hopefully it will be possible. I don't know. I just thought I would ramble once again and put my thought process out in the open. And hopefully you enjoy these videos and want to see more. And I'll see you in a wingspan. Wink.